Legal positivism versus natural law, reconciling the foundation of law and morality. What does a truly just law look like? Does anything have legitimacy only if it is passed by a body with authority, or does it also need to adhere to some moral or ethical code? Philosophers have been grappling with this issue for centuries, and it continues to be at the heart of discussions in legal philosophy today. Natural law and legal positivism, two of the most prominent ideas in this area, present starkly different views on the interplay between morality and the law, each of which has significant ramifications for how legal systems should be constructed. This argument is not only theoretical, it has an impact on how cultures view justice, the rule of law, and human rights defense. Everything from the implementation of human rights to the legitimacy of legal systems around the world is influenced by the nature of law and whether it should be ethically bound. According to legal positivism, a law's legitimacy is derived entirely from the fact that it was passed by a recognized authority, regardless of its moral implications. Aristotle, John Finnis, and other proponents of natural law theory, on the other hand, contend that a system without a moral foundation is essentially unfair. The fundamental conflict between these two perspectives influences our understanding of the connection between morality and the law. Legal positivism is ultimately insufficient to guarantee that laws advance justice, even while it provides a fundamental foundation for comprehending the legitimacy of laws. Although its universality and cross-cultural applicability are problematic, natural law, with its moral underpinnings, offers a convincing substitute in order to make the case for a hybrid model that combines the moral profundity of natural law with the structural clarity of positivism. This essay will fairly examine both viewpoints. I shall contend that in a diverse society, this paradigm provides the best means of establishing a just legal system. According to legal positivism, as was most eloquently expressed by H.L.A. Hart, the morality of a law is not what determines its legality, but rather its sources, which are mainly the laws and customs established by a recognized authority. Hart argues that law is a set of regulations that can be interpreted in light of their social origins, rather than any innate moral significance. A key idea in Hart's theory is the rule of recognition, which is the standard by which society judges what laws are legitimate, regardless of its morality. This guideline informs legal authorities on what constitutes a law in their area. Legal positivism's structure and clarity make it appealing. It offers a tangible, methodical foundation for judging the legality of laws, without reference to personal moral opinion, by distinguishing between the law as it is and the law as it ought to be. That is, the separation of morality and the law. Hart makes it possible to create a clear, predictable set of regulations that support social order. Positivism's strength is its capacity to preserve legal systems stability by emphasizing accepted practices and processes. However, ensuring justice presents serious difficulties for legal positivism. Deeply immoral laws could be accepted as lawful if the validity of a law is determined only by its promulgation by an established authority. The United States Jim Crow laws are a clear illustration of this. Under the positivist framework, these laws were legitimate even though they denied African Americans fundamental civil rights and perpetuated racial segregation. However, they were egregiously unfair from a moral perspective, going against the core values of equality and human dignity. The incapacity of legal positivism to take into consideration the moral aspect of law is one of its main drawbacks. As this critique makes clear, strict adherence to positivism could result in an unjust legal system that undermines the very principles of equality and justice that contemporary legal systems work to defend. Legal positivism falls short on issues of justice because it does not incorporate morality into the philosophy of law. Natural law theory as opposed to legal positivism, holds that morality should guide the creation of laws rather than them being a human invention, originally derived from the ideas of ancient philosophers like Aristotle. This theory was expanded upon by later theorists like Thomas Aquinas, who maintained that the pursuit of the common good and human nature must serve as the foundation for laws. Natural law theorists believe that a law's morality is inextricably linked to its legitimacy. An unjust law is not a law at all. The moral basis of natural law is its greatest strength. Natural law provides a framework for assessing laws as moral requirements, as well as social facts by establishing them in universal concepts of justice, equity, and human dignity. According to modern natural law advocate John Finnis, the law ought to further the fundamental benefits of human existence, including play, friendship, knowledge, and life. According to Finnis, laws fall short of what constitutes legitimate law if they do not promote these goals. Natural law theory, however, has its own problems. Its dependence on a certain moral philosophy that might not be widely acknowledged is a significant criticism. Although some moral precepts, like the importance of human dignity, are universal, there can be substantial cultural differences in how these precepts are applied. This begs the question of whose morality ought to guide the creation of laws. Western ideas of human rights, for instance, could not be consistent with other nations' cultural or religious values. The notion that a single, universal moral framework can act as the cornerstone of all legal systems is called into question by the diversity of moral ideas present throughout the world. Furthermore, the question of how to distinguish an objective moral order is brought up by natural law's reliance on it. Divergent perspectives on the natural law are offered by various intellectuals, ranging from Aquinas to modern proponents of natural law theory. The implementation of natural law in heterogeneous cultures where several moral frameworks coexist is made more difficult by this diversity of interpretations. Despite the criticisms of both theories, I contend that the most promising framework for a just legal system is provided by a hybrid approach that combines the moral underpinnings of natural law with the procedural rigor and clarity of legal positivism. Legal systems can uphold legitimacy and advance justice by combining these two strategies. The hybrid approach acknowledges the significance of both moral principles and procedural clarity in legal practice, without requiring the full union of natural law and legal positivism. Natural law guarantees that laws are based on moral principles that uphold justice and human dignity, while legal positivism guarantees that laws are stable, transparent, and easy to understand. The combination guarantees that laws are in line with core moral values while also allowing legal systems to maintain their structural integrity. When it comes to human rights law, for example, a hybrid model might use positivist frameworks to create the legal procedures and mechanisms for upholding human rights while also making sure that the laws are in line with fundamental moral values like equality, justice, and dignity. This strategy might result in a stronger legal system that preserves the moral integrity of the law, as well as its procedural legitimacy. Natural law's detractors contend that it is unduly reliant on certain moral theories, which might differ among cultures and communities. The question of cultural relativism is brought up by natural law's reliance on objective moral principles. How can natural law be used as the basis for laws in a pluralistic society if moral truths are not universally accepted? This point of view contends that natural law imposes a certain moral code on varied populations, which may lead to conflicts between local cultural norms and legal structures. By emphasizing the origins of law rather than arbitrary moral judgments, legal positivism offers a methodical and understandable approach to the law. Critics contend that we run the risk of adding ambiguity and uncertainty to the legal system by incorporating moral considerations. The predictability and clarity that positivism provides may be compromised by a legal system based on natural law, which could lead to arbitrary interpretations of what is moral. Given their essentially disparate philosophical foundations, some would contend that it is impossible to reconcile natural law and legal positivism. Natural law places an emphasis on moral objectivity, whereas legal positivism is based on the notion that law is a social construct. A synthesis of the two ideas may be challenging, if not impossible, due to these distinctions, particularly in light of contemporary legal systems that need to consider a variety of cultural traditions and points of view. Although natural law has its roots in moral philosophy, its basic ideas, such as justice, fairness, and human dignity, are universal and transcend all cultures and traditions because they represent fundamental human needs and desires. These ideas have universal appeal. Furthermore, proponents of natural law theory such as John Finnis contend that although the specifics of moral philosophy may differ, some fundamental goods are valued in all societies. Because of its universality, natural law can serve as a solid moral basis for legislation, even in a multicultural society. Legal positivism's clarity is valuable, but justice shouldn't be sacrificed for it. Purely positivist legal systems may enforce unfair laws that transgress fundamental morals or human rights. We guarantee that legal systems are not only understandable, but also ethically sound by incorporating natural law, making sure that laws promote justice while preserving their procedural integrity is the difficulty, not making the law less apparent. While reconciling legal positivism and natural law may seem challenging, it is not unworkable. The hybrid approach does not require a complete fusion of the two theories, but instead allows for their integration in a way that preserves the strengths of each. Legal positivism can provide the structural framework for law, while natural law ensures that laws are just and morally grounded. This balance allows for a legal system that is both legitimate and just, even in a pluralistic society. The conflict between procedural legitimacy and moral justice is brought to light by the discussion between natural law and legal positivism. Legal positivism does not guarantee that laws are ethically sound, even while it offers clarity and stability. With its focus on moral foundation, natural law offers a more robust basis for justice. Nonetheless, its universality and applicability in heterogeneous societies present difficulties. A more thorough foundation for developing a legal system that is both just and legitimate is provided by a hybrid approach that combines the best features of both ideas. Future studies could examine the actual application of this hybrid model to modern legal systems, tackling the difficulties of balancing conflicting moral frameworks in a pluralistic society.